Faculty and students, please be seated. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Nicholas School of the Environment 2023 Recognition Ceremony. I am TODDI STEELMAN, Dean of the Nicholas School of the Environment, and I am so pleased to have you all here with us this morning. I am going to start off with a land acknowledgement, which is a tradition we are starting to develop here in the Nicholas School. I want to acknowledge the indigenous people on whose land the Duke community works. What is now Durham was originally the territory of several native nations, including the Tutilo and Saponi-speaking peoples. Many of their communities were displaced or killed through war, disease, and colonial expansion. Today, the Triangle, the area where we are, is surrounded by contemporary native nations, the descendants of the Tutilo, Saponi, and other indigenous peoples who survived early colonialization. These nations include the Haliwa Saponi, the Saponi, and the Occaneechi Band of the Saponi. North Carolina's Research Triangle area is also home to a thriving urban Native community who represent Native nations from across the United States. Together, these indigenous nations and communities contribute to North Carolina's ranking as the state with the largest Native American population east of Oklahoma. In addition, North Carolina was a slaveholding state. And it's important that we acknowledge that we have benefited from the enforced labor of those slaves. There are 4 sites that we know of in the Duke Forest that were slaveholding. It's important for us to acknowledge this past because without acknowledging our past, it is difficult for us to move forward. And as part of that, I think it's an important show of leadership, which is what we strive to do in the Nicholas School. So with that, friends, it is game day for the Nicholas School of the Environment. This is my favorite day of the year. Today we get to celebrate all of your successes. We get to celebrate your achievements, what you have done and what you will go on to do. I want to extend a very warm welcome to all of you who are joining us here today, both in person and remotely. We're being filmed this morning and transmitted all over the world. Congratulations to our graduating students. Congratulations to their family and friends who supported them on their momentous journey that brought them here today. Join me in extending a round of applause to all of those who supported you on this journey to this destination. Graduates, today you will join more than 6,000 others graduating from Duke this weekend. You will also become part of the 7,000-strong Nicholas School alumni who put into action every single day the leadership that we strive to create in the Nicholas School. You are part of a force to be reckoned with. And if you ever question or wonder if what you are doing is making a difference, I want you to look to your left and I want you to look to your right and know that you stand, or rather sit, shoulder to shoulder with others who share your desire for purpose and change, and together we all make a difference. And we need you now more than ever, because you do not have a job. You have a vocation, something much more important. Vocation, from the Latin vocare, which means to call. Let me say that again. You do not have a job. As you graduate from the Nicholas School, you have a vocation, a purpose, a calling, one that is particularly worthy at this time in our planet's history. And it requires and has required from you already great dedication. The blood, sweat, frustration, anger, and tears, and tears, and tears to get through this program. And this vocation will last longer than any single job. I want you to go back in time to August 2021, when most of you started. Not all of you, but most of you. You came to us in droves, as illustrated by the number of you out there today. This is the largest class we have ever graduated in the Nicholas School. Part of, yes. Part of the pent-up demand and eagerness to get back to work, to get back to life and purpose post-COVID or nearly post-COVID. And we accommodated you. And this has not been without controversy. You were not always happy with us, and you let us know it. A lot. But we all made it through. You have educated us, the boomers, the Gen Xers, about the challenges you face, about the world that you want. You've educated us how to use pronouns. You've educated us about boba tea. You have challenged us to be better. And we have tried to rise to that call. In turn, we have tried to expose you to a different way of thinking, new ideas, some of which create ambivalence, ambiguity, discomfort, and uncertainty, all with an eye towards moving away from the fundamentalism of simplicity. Because the problems we wrestle with, climate change, biodiversity loss, the crisis in our oceans, among others, have no easy, simple solutions. They are hard, complex, filled with conflict and contradiction, and they are the best kinds of problems because they are real. So what I want to recognize is that we have each elevated each other through this journey. And it is all with a single vision in mind, to make this world a better place. And that phrase is often thrown around and become meaningless. And I want to breathe a little bit of life into it. What does that actually mean for us in the Nicholas School? A moment ago, I asked you to imagine back to 2021. Now I want you to imagine where we could be in 30 years. A time that is actually not too distant, especially when you consider that the internet didn't even exist 30 years ago. And the first IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report, was issued only in 1990. And the Earth Summit that was held in Rio was held in 1992. That was the place where the term sustainable development was really coined. Today, it is actually impossible for us to think about our lives without the internet. And climate change and sustainability are terms that are part of our everyday language, so change is possible. So what does it mean for us to make the world a better place? We, as the Nicholas School community, want to help to create and contribute to a world that has what? Made the energy transition, stabilized the Earth's climate, has flourishing aquatic and terrestrial habitats filled with diverse critters, has abundant oceans replete with life and that support resilient communities, has a vibrant economy based on renewable energy and restoration efforts, has thriving communities where all people live in good health with greater dignity. And this is a vision worth fighting for, worth working for, and we can do that together. Today, we get to gather to recognize the hard work that you have done during an extraordinarily challenging time. Included in the group that we celebrate here today are our Masters of Environmental Management students, our Master of Forestry students, the Duke Environmental Leadership MEM program, and the International Master of Environmental Policy students. How about a round of applause for all of them? To help me celebrate your achievements, I am joined today by our inspiring faculty over to my left, who all supported, yes. Who all supported you on your respective journeys. They are, I've already said, they're seated to the side of the stage. We also have some of our unflappable staff all around us here today. And I know you all agree with me that without their work, our whole school would grind to a halt. Without their skill, their diplomacy, and their patience, how about a huge round of applause for our staff? We are gathered here today to celebrate the accomplishments of 239 Master of Environmental Management students, 3 Master of Forestry students, and 30 International Master of Environmental Policy students. For those of you doing the math, that's 272 students. We have a number of dual degree students among our graduating students. 4 have earned their Master of Forestry concurrent with their MEM. 12 are earning their MBA along with their MEM. 3 are earning their JD. 2 are earning their Masters in Public Policy. 1 is earning the MEM concurrent with the Master of Theological Studies in the Duke Divinity School. I think it's remarkable when you think about the combinations of degrees that we have and how important it is for us to have those combinations in this world. Among the 239 MEM students are 15 students who are also earning their degree in our Duke Environmental Leadership Program. A special round of applause for them. That is our distance learning program that is specifically designed for experienced working environmental professionals. So these are folks that work full-time and do a degree on top of that. They usually have families, so you can only imagine the commitment that they have had to make. We also have with us today 30 students from China and beyond who are part of our International Master of Environmental Policy. A special round of applause for them as well. All of you are the class that came to Nicholas during COVID, knowing full well that it would be a trying time to engage in a degree. Your decision demonstrated tolerance for uncertainty, a tolerance for ambiguity, and a tolerance for nose swabbing. You are also a class that is graduating into a very hot labor market. The risk you took in coming in 2021 is paying off in terms of job opportunities in 2023. And the world, as I have said, needs you now more than ever. And to provide a bit more inspiration on that front, I am very pleased to introduce our student speaker. The student speaker is elected from among the graduating MEM and MF students by their classmates to represent you and to speak to you and your guests on behalf of the graduating class. And as you will appreciate, it is quite an honor. This year's elected speaker is LAMBERT NGENZI. He's not a very popular guy. Lambert is originally from the Republic of Congo, though his parents fled Rwanda to escape the genocide going on there in 1994. After emigrating to Seattle, Washington with his family, Lambert earned his bachelor's degree magna cum laude from Washington State University, where he earned a BS in environmental science. While a student at Washington State, Lambert was a McNair Scholar and a Doris Duke Conservation Program Fellow. Following graduation, Lambert, from Washington State, Lambert worked as a Princeton in Africa Fellow. Lambert entered the MEM program as a Nicholas Scholar, our highest merit award that we give. During his studies, he co-wrote a guidebook on small stream barrier removal in the university context. He also supported the Energy Access Project. And for his summer internship, he supported the USAID Egypt mission in Cairo, Egypt. Upon graduation, Lambert will be working as an environmental officer at USAID, where he will continue to pursue his passion for addressing pressing environmental issues around the world. Friends, I give you LAMBERT NGENZI.
Can you guys hear me? Thank you, STEELMAN. I'm going to get to this. So my name is Lambert NGENZI, a God-fearing refugee, first-generation student, and raised by a single mother. She's in there. I'm the son of Jean and Vincent, and I have 4 accomplished siblings. Lionel, an engineer, Aimé, a caseworker, Ghislain and Boris, both software engineers. And I'm honored to be receiving my master's degree among the most dedicated people I've ever met. We are a class of resilience. Having overcome the challenge of COVID-19 and all that came with it, from wearing masks to following vaccination protocol, to receiving weekly reminders to get our COVID test done on time. Do you all remember those texts, emails? Yes. We have lived through it all as a class of 2023. Yet, in the midst of all this chaos, one thing has kept us going: hope. Hope that we can make a difference in the world. Hope that we can protect our environment and all that depends on it. Hope that we can leave the world a better place for future generations. My parents taught me the power of hope. In 1994, my parents fled their home country, Rwanda, because of the genocide, and then big boy, I'm crying. Then moved to a neighboring country, Rwanda. Then moved to a neighboring country, the DRC, leaving everything behind them. They kept the hope high and instilled that hope in me. I want to share this hope with the class of 2023 and remind each of us it's worth fighting for the environment, our environment. We know that we are facing unprecedented challenges, from climate change to social and environmental injustice. It can be disheartening to attend a class on environmental justice and realize that the only last 5 minutes of discussions are the ones dedicated to solutions. But as a member of the Nicholas School, it is our job to be people of hope by continuing to search for solutions even when we don't have all the answers. My experiences at Nicholas School have taught me how essential hope is. As we move forward into the next chapter of our lives, we must continue to hold into hope. Even amidst chaos and uncertainty, hope will give us the curiosity, motivations, and strength to overcome uncertainty of the biggest challenges society faces. But what are those challenges? Climate change will affect everyone, but mostly the people who are least responsible for causing climate change. But who's going to pay for that? How can we ensure clean water for all people? And for me, that means especially those in Congo, where I grew up. Energy is so important. How can we be more intentional about where our energy is coming from? This is a question whether we are in the United States or Central Africa. Today, we do not have all the answers. In fact, we have very few answers, but we do have hope. Let us use this hope to fuel our efforts to protect the environment and all those who depend on it. So, as I conclude my remarks, I want to leave you with a quote that has inspired me on my own journey toward hope and action. Do not be daunted by the enormity of the world grief. Do justly now, love mercy now, walk humbly now. You are not obligated to complete the work, but neither are you free to abandon it. And so, Nicholas School, I leave you with this challenge: to hope in the victory of small things. Celebrate your small victories and do this through the power of hope for what those small victories can eventually become. Celebrating victories in small things remind us that we are not alone in our efforts. Small actions and small victories add up to big differences when combined with actions and small victories of others. We are building on the work our faculty has done. And someone else, perhaps, another Nicholas School alumni, some years from now, will build on what we have done. Congratulations to the Nicholas School class of 2023. And special shout out to my worms. I'm looking for Martin. And thank you for allowing me to share this thought with you today. Thanks.
Thank you, Lambert, for those very touching words. It is now with immense pleasure that I get to introduce you to our alumni keynote speaker, Jeb Stenhouse. Jeb graduated from the Nicholas School in 2006 with an MEM degree in Environmental Economics and Policy after earning a bachelor degree in economics from the College of William and Mary. After graduation, Jeb joined the EPA as a Presidential Management Fellow and worked with the House Energy and Commerce Committee to inform the 2007 Energy Law and Climate Bills. Since 2010, Jeb has led an interdisciplinary team developing EPA regulations to reduce regional, toxic, and climate-changing air pollution from the power sector, something that has only become more and more important since his graduation in the mid-2000s. Jeb met his beloved husband Mark by joining the Gay Men's Chorus of Washington, D.C., on whose board he currently serves. He volunteers with Greater Washington to promote sidewalks, bike lanes, frequent transit, affordable housing, and a city for all people. Jeb also served on the Alumni Council from 2019 to 2022. He has also served as an advisor to the Nicholas School EAP track and has sponsored master's projects using EPA's power sector analytics. Jeb grew up in Atlanta and enjoys ferrying his dog Sadie in his electric vehicle to visit his family in Tampa as often as possible. Welcome back, Jeb.
Good morning, class of 2023, and let's get another round of applause for that incredible speech from Lambert. What an inspiration. I feel really honored to be here to celebrate your achievement today. So as you heard, I'm Jeb. I graduated from the Nicholas School 17 years ago. And I did my first thought coming back was that really it was Glenda Lee, who used to be in our career services office here in the Nicholas School, is now working for Big Duke, who convinced me back then to come to the school and then reconvinced me to join the Alumni Council. And back when I came to visit as a prospective student, she and Karen KIRCHOF gave the most devastating presentation of the future that I might have if I came to the school. And I took my mom to the Cracker Barrel and proceeded to eat the entire menu. I don't think they have any food left. I had it all. So it was. I'm getting that energy again, seeing you all here, and it's wonderful to feel the potential in this room. Last night, I was invited to dine with some of your colleagues that are not yet on this stage, but hope to be a year from now. And they set such a perfect tone, such an inspirational tone for the future of what you all can achieve. They talked to me about their internships coming up with Rocky Mountain Institute, the Nature Conservancy, their research to improve access to affordable housing here in the city of Durham, their GIS tracing of indigenous peoples' cultivation of particular plant species, and their leadership of diversity, equity, and inclusion right here in the school. They just really showed me the kind of students that attend this school today, and it's just really inspiring to me. So this is the second time I've had the pleasure of being on this stage. My class deadlocked on who they wanted to talk to them for the big occasion. It tied between myself and my fabulous classmate, Courtney Lorenz, probably because she used to hold court in the old LSRC computer lab and was uproariously funny. So we chose to share the podium that day in a joint speech that was doubly entertaining and effective. I asked her to rejoin me here, but she's traveling in Europe, so sadly she could not be here. But at the time, and I'm sure she'd double down on this message for y'all if she was here today, she told us that issue linkage was the wave of the future. And for anyone who knew Courtney, this was like the umpteenth wave of the future that she was certain was approaching. But then again, I mean, did anybody think groundbreaking climate change legislation was going to be in the Inflation Reduction Act? I think Courtney won that prediction. But I'm here today to double down on the message I gave the class of 2006 when I graduated, because I've had 2 decades of experience since then that I think prove that it is necessary. You must be the phoenix. So you're leaving this nest, you're ready to fly, and in many respects, you've already soared. Almost 20% of you are the first generation of your families to earn a bachelor's degree and are now flying even higher to reach today's peak. Over 10% of you have lifted others up through AmeriCorps and Peace Corps service. Several of you have made it to the national stage to compete for the prestigious Sea Grant Canals Fellowship, where those of you selected will improve our country's natural resource policies and programs. Some of you are already finding opportunities to help the private and public sectors navigate a just transition to a clean energy future. So many of you are already working toward that beautiful vision that Dean STEELMAN laid out for us. But each of you will also fall. The most spectacularly successful among us have known and will know spectacular failures. So, when your best laid plans lie in ruins and your cherished project crashes and burns, you must become that bird of ancient legend that rises majestically from the ashes of its failed predecessors. Whenever my phoenix dies, I fire up my pity party playlist. It usually starts with Cornflake Girl by Tori Amos, but then comes the crucial pivot to invoking Taylor Swift to shake it off. Music is a great way to get your phoenix moving. Once you banish despair and put some of that hope in your tank that you heard Lambert talking about, you've got to study the wreckage, salvage what knowledge and lessons you can carry forward, and step back to reconsider the long game. Toss your old assumptions into the ashes and look for other paths of progress. Be curious about what new opportunities may emerge as circumstances change. So, let me share with you some of the fiery deaths and rebirths of my phoenix. I had taken Karen and Glenda's advice and applied for the Presidential Management Fellowship with the federal government, but at the time, I really thought of it as a why not option, since I'd passed the Foreign Service exam and was confidently looking forward to my dream job as globe-trotting eco-diplomat. Imagine my surprise when the State Department disqualified me at the last minute for being diabetic after an internship and 2 years of application process. So that phoenix blew up on its launch pad. Off I went to the big job fair for that fellowship, where I scheduled a dozen interviews, some of which were interesting, but none turned into a job. I had an open hour at some point and decided to chat up the woman at the EPA table, who it so happens had been stood up by an applicant for her job. She said, "Heck, want to interview for this position?" I said, "Sure, tell me more." And that's the job I got, a special assistant to the presidentially appointed, Senate-confirmed Big Cheese that runs the entire air office at EPA. Anybody who wanted this guy's signature had to go through me. So within a year, I knew pretty much everybody in that massive office. And I drank from a fire hose of Clean Air Act regulations that supplemented my education perfectly. I mean, John Vandenberg had already told me how it all worked, so I was like ready to go. It was an incredible job that I didn't even know existed. And I got it because I was in the right place at the right time, and I made a positive connection with someone who shared my values. Several positive connections later, a bigwig recommended me to the Energy and Commerce Committee in the House of Representatives to provide technical assistance, which really means being a resident nerd, on a host of clean energy and climate bills. My new job was to connect lawmakers to experts and teach congressional staff how to dissect and understand these proposals. One of those bills became law. Another one became the basis for the first climate law to ever pass the U.S. House of Representatives. But it died in the Senate. Even so, its life and death enriched the foundation of public knowledge on which future law is made. I also found new and lasting friends with whom I began sifting the ashes to determine what we could carry forward to future climate and clean energy policymaking attempts. So I returned to EPA, and I shared with colleagues that my scholastic journey through undergraduate economics through my MEM intentionally targeted reshaping markets to value ecosystems, and that the acid rain program was canon in my classrooms. My values were clear, and my special assistant connections vouched for me. So I was made an economist in the Clean Air Markets Division, the very birthplace of that acid rain program. So 2 years later, I had cracked the code of achieving great things with my manager. But he shows up to staff meeting one day with orange juice and donuts and drops the bomb that he was moving to a different office. It gave us all PTSD. Anytime anyone brings donuts into my office, we're all like, oh my God, who's leaving? So if you take anything from this speech, just take donuts in randomly, don't make it a big deal. But it felt then as if the rug had been pulled out from under me, as if my phoenix's wings had been clipped. I began dusting off my resume and wondering how I'd find any success under some new boss. But it turns out that a senior coworker of mine, who'd been an unofficial mentor to me, marched into the director's office and urged him to try me out as manager. And that's how I found myself learning to manage a team required to develop and deliver an extraordinarily important final rule to the White House a mere 6 months after I took over. So, these mentors, they can do things for you. My team and I poured our brains, hearts, and souls into that rule, which was urgently overdue to relieve millions of Americans from deadly air pollution. And we did it. We made a fantastic final rule on schedule. But 2 days before that program was scheduled to go into effect, a court ordered us to pause implementation, and a few months later, that court vacated the rule entirely, which is legal speak for erasing it from the books. Not only did that ruling eliminate our program, it also imposed new constraints on future attempts by EPA to address and resolve air pollution that crosses state lines. So I thought that was a fairly spectacular, fiery death for my nascent phoenix. And if you think I felt bad, imagine what it was like for some of my team members who had worked on a previous rule with the same purpose that had also been vacated by a different set of judges in the same court. They were watching the phoenix born of that previous failure die what initially looked like the same death, despite everything we'd improved from the prior cycle. But we did not succumb to despair. We re-examined the wreckage and realized that it wasn't the same death after all. This death was new, and there was something new we could do about it. We convinced the Solicitor General to take our appeal to the Supreme Court, and 2 years later, 6 justices overturned the flawed ruling. Not only did our program spring back to life, it now enjoyed the legal backing of the highest court of the land. We've since improved that program not once, not twice, but 3 times, strengthening its requirements and applying it to additional states and sources of pollution. A veritable flock of phoenixes that could not exist without the instructive deaths of their forebears. So based on those experiences, I'd like to offer you my recommended regimen for hatching and nurturing your phoenixes. Step 1, know thyself. Stop doom scrolling your phones, we all do it, and spend some quality time rediscovering the person you are, what you care about and why. The phoenix is born of passion, which is emotion serving a value. Many people allow their values to be subconscious, and their emotions rule them. They become easily distracted and they lose focus. Keep your values clear and front of mind. I know my values and I know where they came from. My parents gave me a love of learning, pride of work, and the joy of making music. My grandparents showed me the delight of delicious home cooking, the health benefits of a daily walk, and inexhaustible optimism. I was an indoors kid glued to my video game screens, but thankfully my friends in college shared their vegetarian motivations and took me bird watching, thus imprinting me the values of biodiversity and sustainability. My diabetes has taught me rigorous discipline. The one time I skipped a shot out of childish pique, I ended up in the hospital. Being insulin dependent reminds me the truth that we are all interdependent, that my life and well-being depend on others just as others depend on me. Being gay and coming out of that closet demanded of me the uncompromising courage to embrace and stand up for the truth, no matter others' expectations or preferences. Knowing how isolating it is to be different and distrusted by society's majority helps me recognize my privilege as a white man, and to be an ally wherever I can with other minorities and with women whose equality and rights must be respected. My worldview is, put simply, Star Trek. Another gift from my parents, who screened that show constantly across our childhood. Mom would cut Starfleet insignia badges out of duct tape and just slap them on. My brothers and I would beam off to the backyard for another away team adventure. But the best and most impactful Star Trek scenes weren't phaser battles or strange aliens. What really stuck with me were the moral debates, often aired and resolved in staff meetings in the conference room. My best days at my job are when I'm like, oh man, I'm like at a Star Trek episode. We're having like the dorkiest conversation in the conference room. It's perfect. Star Trek looked beyond the private profit motive to define the meaning of life as social purpose to improve conditions for everyone. Their mission became my mission. But enough about me. Each of you has your own personal blend of values and mission. You are here because someone in your life mattered to you. They said something to you or did something in front of you from which you forged your will. You resolved to be here because you felt something powerful, something that made all of this work worthwhile. The people around you have shaped your story. You've selected from your most important contacts, your friends and your enemies, the values in your character and what defines your mission in life. The Nicholas School says you're here to restore and preserve the world's environmental resources while adapting to a changing climate and a growing population, to create knowledge, expanding our understanding of the earth and its environment, and to build an inclusive community with people with different backgrounds, beliefs, sexual orientations, life experiences, and career interests. If any parts of that made your heart sing, I encourage you to put those words in front of your eyeballs every day. They make sticky notes apps for your phone home screens, y'all. You just have it right up there. You can look at it instead of doom scrolling. Look at your values. Whatever you reflect on and write down, keep your most treasured values front and center, as they will keep your phoenixes on course. Step 2, connect with people. I'm not talking about networking. I'm talking about really understanding your own values and learning more about other people's values to deepen meaningful connections and find shared purpose. Find a mentor and be a mentor to others. Reach out across the network of esteemed Nicholas School alumni to which you now belong. You may not know when or how those connections may bear fruit, but they are always rewarding. I joined the Gay Men's Chorus of Washington, as you heard earlier, because I miss singing. But let's be honest, I was on the hunt for a husband, and spoiler alert, it worked. Hey, honey. Anyway, what I didn't expect was how much emotional intelligence I'd gained from making art with friends in an intersectional community, and how much leadership skill I learned from the monthly dinners I have with our conductor. When one of the most inspiring bosses I've ever had retired recently, he told me he would never forget my performance, not on the job, but one day after work when he and his wife stopped by to see my small ensemble sing in a hotel lobby for the holidays. So, that's it. Know thyself. Connect with people, and you'll be the phoenix. By the way, the State Department recently announced it has rescinded its discriminatory hiring practice based on my and dozens of other victims' experiences. My ashes will spawn new diabetic phoenixes to be Foreign Service officers going forward, which I think is pretty damn cool. And after all, my own eco-diplomat Phoenix was reborn at EPA, where I settled disputes between stakeholders, I built coalitions to negotiate stronger national environmental policies, and the death of that original Phoenix kept me in DC, where I met the love of my life. So that's some pretty awesome fallout, don't you think? So in that spirit of gratitude, I leave you with this quote from President Jimmy Carter. Nowhere in the Constitution of the United States, or the Declaration of Independence, or the Bill of Rights, or the Emancipation Proclamation, or the Old Testament, or the New Testament, do you find the words economy or efficiency. Not that those words are unimportant, but you discover other words like honesty, integrity, fairness, liberty, justice, patriotism, compassion, love. and many others which describe what human beings ought to be. These are the same words which describe what a government of human beings ought to be. Members of the class of 2023, you made the decision to invest in yourselves and contribute to the sustainability of our collective future when our entire world had been turned upside down by a deadly pandemic. Think about that resolve you have already shown whenever you get butterflies for a job interview. And remember, whatever happens, know thyself, connect with people, and you will rise above. Be the phoenix.
Thank you very much, Jeb. We have a plaque for you that you get to take and to commemorate your speech. And I just want to say thank you again for being one of our most amazing alums. All right. So now is the time we've all been waiting for, the recognition of degree candidates. We will recognize the Master of Environmental Management and Master of Forestry student first, followed by our IMEP students, our International Management and Environmental Policy students. There are 7 program areas within the MEM, plus our Duke Environmental Leadership MEMs. We will begin with Business and Environment, followed by students in the Coastal Environmental Management area, most of whom have spent their second year at the Marine Lab in Beaufort. Yes, for you all. That's about, for those of you not familiar with our geography, that's about 3 hours east of Durham, where we are right now. After the CEMs, we'll follow our Ecosystem Science and Conservation, Ecotoxicology and Environmental Health, Energy and Environment, and then Environmental Economics and Policy, and Water Resource Management. Some of our students, as you've already heard, are earning both the MEM and MF degree, and they will be presented in the group with their MEM concentration. I am now going to turn the microphone over to Assistant Dean Cindy Peters, who will present the students. Cindy, over to you.
As I read the student's name, if the student is earning a concurrent degree, I will provide that degree name. As Dean Steelman said, the MEM concurrently with the MF, MBA, JD, MPP or Master of Public Policy, MTS, Master of Theological Studies. And if the student is earning one of these specializing certificates, I'm going to try to remember to read that as well. Community-Based Environmental Management or CBEM, Geospatial Analysis or GIS, Climate Change Science and Applications, Climate Change, International Development Policy or IDP. And of course the certificates and concurrent degrees are also listed in the printed program. So the first group is Business and Environment. Will Professors Benier, Campbell, Cagle, Gallagher, Emerson, Perret, Vincent, and Verdon please come to the stage. The first student to be presented is Madeline Bowers, also earning a GIS certificate. Marta Lopresti. Mei Ling Ginger Chan. Rachel Lindsay Gordon. Patrice Barnett. Jamie Barry, also earning an MBA. Molly Page Bonus, earning a climate change certificate. Chayan Johnny. Kathleen McDonald. Ibe Chu. Kelsey Lynn Roberton. Diane Sanchez. Hannah Schofield. Nadia Stratton. Erin Elizabeth Tuckman, earning an MBA. Julia Sarah Weinberg. Xian Hung Shi. Nidhi Sandeep Nair. Reno Hippa. Grace Reynolds, earning an MBA. Anant Pratap Singh, earning certificates in climate change, IDP and CBAM. Francisco William Tomasino. Benjamin Tran. Johanna Subisa Wasserman, earning an MBA. Dan Le Zhao. Abhay Venkatesh Rao. Sandini Lianagamaki. The next group of students to be presented is Coastal Environmental Management. Would the following faculty please come to the stage? Campbell, DeMattia, Halpin, Johnston, Murray, Reed, Nowacek, Smith, Vermeulen, and Verdon. Gabriela Adelina Bellardo, earning a GIS certificate. Maria Cecilia Pertuz Molina. Aurora Rose McCollum. Corey Halbert, earning a GIS certificate. David Derek Adama, earning a GIS certificate. Bryce Rosebrook O'Brien, earning a GIS certificate. James David Poling. Alexandra Elizabeth Addison. Curtis Cha, earning a GIS certificate. Devin Mariah Domeyer, earning a GIS certificate. India Josephine Mackinson. Sydney Addison Mantell. Stephanie Florio Pipus. Alex Recius. Allison Noel Stauffer. Peyton Marie Campbell. Sorry, Allison got a GIS certificate. Hugh Chipperoni. Rachel Erica Hilt. Andrew Thomas Jacobs, earning an MBA. Marika Krupitsky. Jessica Kiesel, earning a JD. Joshua Metzafidalgo, earning a GIS certificate. Jessica Ozog, earning a GIS certificate. Rainer Rama Perdana. Brittany Elizabeth Wingfun Pepper, earning a GIS certificate. Nicholas Fairbairn. Mariana Kendall. Catherine Lienhard. Kathleen Gabrielle Barrows. Claudia Suzanne Deeg. The next group is Ecosystem Science and Conservation. Will Professors Cagle, Charlotte Clark, Johnson, Lima, Richter, Schindel, Shapiro Garza, Swenson, Urban, Verdon, and Wyman Roth please come to the stage? Kelly Bruno. Lucas DaCosta Morgenstern, earning a GIS. Jacqueline Fahrenholtz, earning an MEM MF and a GIS certificate. Marissa Fajardo. Aurora Kuchek, earning a GIS certificate. Chloe Pepke, earning a GIS certificate. Caitlin Marie Marcus, MEMMF and GIS. Eliza Carter, GIS certificate. Savannah Artusi, also earning a JD. Elise Catherine Bowes, GIS certificate. Eniku Bihari, MEMMF and GIS certificate. Carson K. Lambert, GIS certificate. Sarah Lindsay Diamond. Clara Fast. Avery Davis Lamb, MTS and CBEM. Christina Cutshaw, GIS certificate. Natalie Ann Paparone. Xiaoge Zhang, GIS certificate. Laura Ann Brockington, GIS certificate. Andrea Bruns. Juliana Carvalho. Grace Emerson Chamberlain. Rima Garabadu. Gurubanda Singh Khalsa, also getting a GIS certificate. Chloe Louise Ochaki, also a GIS certificate. Michelle Elizabeth Carter. Claire Eve Elias. Ariana Michelle Huff, IDP. Elsie Liu, GIS certificate. Julia Ann Plazinski. Rachel Schenecker. Elena Stagun. Michelle Joanne Thompson. Annabelle Cassidy Catherine White, GIS certificate. Emily Rose Wood. Ty McFarland. Laura Marbly Martinez, GIS certificate. The next group to be presented is ecotoxicology and environmental health. Will Professors Ferguson, Hoffman, Meyer, Stapleton, and Vandenberg please come to the stage? Samantha Sarah DiLoretto. Ji Heng Hao. Sashoy Milton. Yilin Zhang. Nadia Reen Barbo. Roi Faroud Lopez. Shannon Nicole O'Hara, also earning a JD. Ryan Sean Parks. Shoning, Shoning Tang. Jacob Smoot. Jun Hu. The next group to be presented is Energy and Environment. Will Professors Charlotte Clark, Johnson, Lima, and Patino Echeverri please come to the stage? Besta El Verde. Alexander Longmaid Bod, also earning an MPP. Anjali Balakrishna. Delaney Buscard. Yinan Ding. Jade Forrest. Jonathan Peralta, also earning an MBA. Trey Signorelli, earning an MBA. Nicholas Valby, earning an MBA. Malky Annika Wall. Shi-Ri Zhang. Jeffrey Corrick Fromuth. Vicky Janita. Dhruv Javeri. Catherine Owens. Kristen Lene Pulley. Kristen Trin. Yu Hai. Abhijit Hari Gopal. Adil Jamal. Rajat Khandelwal. Jack Quinn Mitchell. Jennifer Ronderos. The next group is Environmental Economics and Policy. Will Professors Albright, Lima, Shapiro, Garza, and Urban please come to the stage? Mary Margaret Allen, Climate Change Certificate. Michael Audi. Sarah Carr Barnes. Maximilio Bernal Termores. Devin Block Funkhauser, IDP certificate. Grace Carroll. Natalie Kate Dixon. Maita Dukela, Climate Change Certificate. Erin Rose Koleski. Christian Dante La Spada. Suwan Liu. Sean Stewart McCarthy, IDP certificate. Stephanie A. Murphy. Maggie O'Shea, GIS certificate. Chrissy Abby Pantoya Vallejos. Claire Joy Redder, IDP certificate. Arfa Wahid, IDP certificate. Kendall Rain Wimberly. Lingji Zhu. Sophia Hill. Angela Zheng. Rachel Barales, IDP certificate. Ana Gargollo Garcia Rendon, IDP certificate. Laura Mendlin, CBEM certificate. Karina Taragitigo. Ishani Palandarkar. The next group to be presented is Water Resources Management. Will Professors Doyle, Emanuel, Heffernan, and Richardson please come to the stage? First student, Jack Brendan Carpenter. Atali Singh Fisher. Andrew Friedman Herring. Austin Gimond, GIS certificate. Kelsey Husted. Natasha Lisa Joanna Jacob, GIS certificate. Taro Katayama. Laura Addison Navarro. Lambert NGENZI. Ariel Emerald O'Callahan. Catherine Emily Otero, earning an MPP. Ann Roderer. Sam Saltman. Jessica Lauren Sheldon. Karen Marie Thornton. Jacqueline Vanderhout. Snehal Verma. Natalie Von Turkovich, IDP certificate. Caitlin Elizabeth May Elliott. Yikai Jing. Andrew Carroll Brantley. Duke Environmental Leadership students will be presented by Professors Cagle, Doyle, Hooray, Rojas Sotelo, Vidra, and Verdon. Would the faculty please come to the stage? The first student is Magdalena Olivares Raitze. Sunita Sarveswaran. Jennifer Lee. Logan Gulick. Shelley Kane. Nicole Page Peck. Beverly Tet Gol Yekison. Fran Castro. Adam Dreesy. Aaron Fleck. Marissa Gedney. Jill Stewart. Fanny Yang. The next group of students to be presented are the Master of Forestry. Will Professors Cagle and Vincent please come to the stage? Benjamin Chase. Christine Martins. Grace Trigigio, GIS certificate. The next group of students are the International Master of Environmental Policy. Will Professors Ewing and Perret please come to the stage? Kan Lin Dong. Yi Xin Fang. Lu Gan. Jin Chen Guan. Yu Huan. Ke Shin Huang. Yi Zi Jiang. Zhen Chao Lai. Yi Ming Li. Ying Li. Ife Lu. Chen Yao Ma. Shen Zhu Miao. Ziyu Chen. Yu Xiang, sorry. Yu Qiang Ren. Ming Yang Wang. Xin Kai Wang. Wei Chen Zhu. Xi Ying Yi. Shin Lu Yu. Ife Zhang. Jing Lin Zhang. Zi Jie Zhou. An Fei Lin Zhu. Jia Huan Lee. Chin Ju Wei Sun.
Good. All right, everyone, I present to you the Nicholas School of the Environment class of 2023. Very good. I think that's the longest round of applause I've experienced since I've been here. That's wonderful. We have a few important awards we would like to bestow as we move into the last part of our ceremony today. And it gives me great pleasure to announce the winner of the LYNN MAGUIRE Award for Excellence in Teaching and Mentoring of Professional Students. This award was established to recognize the dedicated career of Professor LYNN MAGUIRE, who championed our professional degree students. She had high expectations for the students, and she held the school accountable for the education our students receive. And it gives me great pleasure to announce that Professor Jeff Vincent, Jeff, could you join me? Jeff has been awarded this year's LYNN MAGUIRE Award for Excellence in Teaching and Mentoring. Congratulations, Jeff. Students, Jeff, if you could just hang on for 1 second. Students who nominated Jeff, I'm going to embarrass you here for a little bit. Students who nominated Jeff noted how well organized, eloquent, and mindful he was in his teaching and mentoring style. The quotes that I will recite for you speak for themselves. In his classrooms, Jeff makes sure to create a culturally inclusive environment by offering a safe space for students to participate and encouraging students to collaborate, as well as reach out to him for help. Jeff has been an excellent faculty advisor for our Duke SAF, that's the Society of American Foresters student chapter, and has met with students regularly to help the chapter achieve levels of engagement that have not been seen for decades. Jeff has also selflessly offered many hours of his time one-on-one for advising, for career and internship advice, as well as for student MPs for which he was not the official advisor. Please join me once again in congratulating Jeff. Next, I have the pleasure to announce the winner of the KIRCHOF Staff Award for Excellence in Mentoring Students. This is a new award for us, and it was established to recognize the incredible career of the late Karen KIRCHOF, a longtime assistant dean and director of the school's Career and Professional Development Center. Karen was a true champion of our students and alumni and influenced the careers of literally thousands of students during her 27 years at the Nicholas School. This award allows students to recognize the considerable efforts of a full-time staff member who consistently invest their time and attention in mentoring of students. Kelly Robbins Thompson, can you please join me on stage? on there, Kelly. Don't run away just yet. Kelly is the program coordinator for our Dell MEM program. And it's just such a pleasure to know that she's been awarded this inaugural award. Kelly was nominated by the whole Dell MEM cohort in recognition of her exemplary leadership and mentorship in the Nicholas School. According to her nominators, Kelly is the crux of the supported Dell MEM environment that serves our group of mid-career professional students spreading from Guam and Tokyo to every corner of the United States. She connects individual interests with insightful resources and opportunities when she sees it, and she always does. She has been present, active, and a constant advocate for the Dell MEM students. Please join me again in congratulating Kelly. All right, the Duke University Alumni Association recognizes graduating students from across campus with the Forever Duke Student Leadership Award. Students who win this award embody the Forever Duke spirit in their service to the university. Recipients are individuals of high integrity who have done great things not only at Duke, but for Duke. They exhibit qualities worthy of the award. They are strong advocates for the Duke community. They embody Duke's guiding principle of knowledge in the service of society, and they are leaving Duke a better place than what they found it. And it is my extreme pleasure to announce to you that Meech Carter has been recognized in the Forever Duke. Meech, can you stand up where you are? And Meech, I personally want to thank you for all the service that you have given to the university over your 2 years with us. I know that we've interacted a lot, and I've really valued everything that you've brought to that. All right, for our last award of the ceremony, the VIRLIS L. Fischer Award for Academic Excellence was established by Bernice Fischer in memory of her late husband, who served on our Board of Visitors and was a strong supporter of the school. The award is presented annually at our commencement to the student with the highest academic achievement. It has been our tradition to keep the winners of the VIRLIS Fischer Award for Academic Excellence secret until this ceremony. Except we had a bit of a spoiler alert yesterday, unfortunately. So maybe some of you know this and maybe some of you don't, but don't go looking on your phones right now just to find it, okay? As part of our introduction, I basically start to describe the person. So you and the student will be learning of their award simultaneously. And this year we have a remarkable 5 professional degree students who achieved this honor, which is really just incredible in its own right. And so as I say your name and you get a sense that you are one of these winners, I would like you all to come up and stay on stage as I present all 5 awards. Our first recipient of the VIRLIS Fischer Award for Academic Excellence had several years of environmental experience before joining us here at Duke. They did AmeriCorps service with the Fish and Wildlife Service in New York State as an outreach coordinator, and they provided communications support for a local garden in Ithaca, New York, and served as an extension specialist for the Cornell University School of Integrative Plant Science. Their major at Houghton College was Media and Visual Arts, which allowed them to create significant publications and guides regarding plants and forest pests. As an MEM student in environmental science and concentration, they completed a STANBACK fellowship in restoration and resilience for the Nature Conservancy. Congratulations, Andrea Bruns. Very good. All right. All right, our next one. Following magna cum laude graduation from Smith College with a biological sciences major, our next recipient held several jobs related to the environment or politics before coming to Duke. Included was an experience as a Fulbright student fellowship in Zanzibar, Tanzania, working on coral reefs. Well, let me finish. As a student in the Coastal Environmental Management Program area, this student worked with the Nicholas Institute for Energy, Environment, and Sustainability on small-scale fisheries policy. They also served as a lab coordinator in the Ocean Synthesis Lab. Our second award winner is Claudia D. Isn't this fun? One of the select few students in our ecotoxicology and environmental health program area, this next recipient completed a summer internship with the Duke University Superfund Research Center, researching and analyzing firefighters' exposures to endocrine-disrupting chemicals. They also served as a teaching assistant. Prior to coming to the Nicholas School, they earned a Bachelor of Science in Environmental Sciences from Washington College in Maryland. As an undergraduate student, this student was active in track and skeet sport. I am pleased to announce that Samantha DiLoretto is our next recipient. Our fourth recipient is part of our Water Resources Management Program, or as they like to be called, WORMS. This student completed a summer internship with the National Park Service as a natural resource management assistant in the Cabrillo National Monument. They also worked with the Duke University Wetlands Center on stream restoration. Prior to coming to Duke, they were part of the AmeriCorps, supervising a salmon restoration crew in Seattle, Washington. An environmental sciences major and graduate of Colby College, please congratulate Taro Katayama.
Thank you.
Last, but certainly not least, this student hails from Asheville, North Carolina, though they graduated from Colby College with a BS in engineering. Returning to North Carolina, they worked for a hiking company and for an engineering firm. This student has hiked more than 2,000 miles on the Appalachian Trail. While at Duke, this student was active in the student chapter of the Society of American Foresters and completed an internship with the U.S. Forest Service in Virginia. This weekend, they are earning a Master of Forestry degree. Please join me in congratulating Christine Martin. All right, can we have one final round of applause for our VIRLIS Fisher Award winner? All right. Finally, I want to acknowledge that we have two very important retirements that will occur this year. Dean Urban and Charlotte Clark, can you please just stand up for a moment? They both have been just outstanding and amazing scholars as well as citizens in our community and will be sorely missed. Thank you so much for your service. All All right, before we close out, I want to thank our amazing staff. So I'm going to read out a lot of names because they have really done an incredible job. If you can just imagine, it's the biggest class we've ever had. They have pulled this off flawlessly, which I can assure you is no easy feat. But before I do that, in summary, what have we learned today? You don't have a job. Count the small victories and successes. You will fail. You will ascend. And you need to keep hope alive because the phoenix always rises. All right. I want our staff folks to wave their hand or stand up as I call your name. And there are a lot of names here, and we're going to acknowledge every single darn one of them, okay? So make a fuss so we can see you. Nancy Kelly. Sherry Nevis. Cindy Peters. Danielle Wiggins. Alina Tallman. Laura Turcotte. Kevin Smith, Andy Minnis, Allison Besh, Mary Beth Magallanes, Deanna Knighton, Sandy McLaughlin, Alexis Sharp, Pam Jones, Rachel Lowe Piccolo, Gladys Meyer, Katie Wood, Erica Lovelace Young, Amy Chapman Braun, Ann Thurston, Tom Brooks, Katie O'Grady Nilo, Janet Knox, Mariah Carlton, Wendy Womble, Tim Lucas, Christy Thompson, Melissa Katachka, Kathleen Dunn, Sergio Tovar, Parker Brown, Jill Powell, and Laura Lips. Graduates, please stand as you extend a round of applause to all of these people who have supported you along the way. All right, that's it, friends. Thank you for joining us. You are the class of 2023 from the School of the Environment. Congratulations.